Here is a message from Lee Rigby, Lee's mum. Now, you might be of the view that you're more entitled to decide what should and shouldn't be done with her son's memory than she is. I'd politely disagree with you, you massive racist pillock. But this is what she has to say on the subject. As a foundation and a family, we are aware of a number of posts using images of Lee and his murder in a divisive way to fuel arguments against the Black Lives Matter protests. Lee proudly served his country to protect the rights and freedoms of all members of this great melting pot of a nation. Seeing his image used to cause hate of any kind, especially for those exercising their freedoms in protest against this issue, hurts. Every single person who cited Lee Rigby's memory in some sort of warped attempt to criticise or undermine the Black Lives Matter protests, you personally hurt his grieving mother. You did. Don't hide whether you're anonymous on social media or not, whether you're sticking it on your auntie's Facebook page under your own name or whether you are St. George fan 106434642 with a picture of a dog as your avatar. You hurt his mum. And yet somehow you persuade yourself you're patriotic? Somehow you persuade yourself that you are honouring his memory? You hurt his grieving mother. We find these posts extremely heartbreaking and distressing and in complete opposition to what Lee stood for. Hey, but here's a racist who knows better than his own mum what Lee stood for. We ask you all to please stop using his image and memory in such posts, as he was a lover of all of humanity, every race, gender, creed, sexuality and colour. So seeing such use of his name harms not only his family, but his legacy and memory. Our thoughts and support go out to George Floyd's friends and family at this tragic time. We wish you all love and peace at this time. That's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. Our thoughts and support go out to George Floyd's friends and family at this tragic time. And if you did it, all right, come here a minute. If you did it, I get it. Okay, you're angry, you're frightened, you're not quite sure why, you're not quite sure what you're frightened of. And there's people pouring this stuff into your ear 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, especially if you fall down YouTube holes or you spend your life watching a Fox News feed on a VPN from America. I get it, okay? It's there, and you're addicted to it. It's you mainline it every morning. Hatred and anger, hatred and anger, hatred and anger and fear, hatred and anger and fear. Hatred and anger and fear. You turn on your radio, hatred and anger and fear. You open up your newspaper, hatred and anger and fear. You turn on your telly, hatred and anger and fear. And when that doesn't get you high anymore, you get onto the internet. You go down a YouTube hole. You get onto Nazi Twitter. Hatred and anger and fear. Hatred and anger and fear. And where did it lead you? It led you to a place where you personally hurt Lee Rigby's mother. You personally hurt her. If you used his name or his photograph once this week, you personally hurt his grieving mum. And you maligned his memory, and you defiled his service. Because you tried to co-opt him to your hatred and your anger and your fear. And if his mother is to be believed, he stood against all of those. Every single scintilla of those prejudices was anathema to Lee Rigby. And yet here you are. And I do get it. And I still don't blame you. I blame the people pouring the poison. I blame the dealers, not the users. Okay? But come on, if this isn't the moment that you wake up and go, all right, well, look, I'm not exactly going to go out and join Amnesty International, but I think I might stop being a massive fascist wazzock, for want of a better word. That was close. Because you've now insulted Lee Rigby's mum while patting yourself on the back on social media for somehow championing his memory. You insulted his mother. So even if you still don't care about black people being killed by cops, even if you still don't care about systemic racism, even if you still think that every Muslim in the country is a terrorist or a paedophile or a member of a grooming gang, even if you still think that it's perfectly reasonable to chuck innocent black boys over the bonnets of police cars whenever the coppers might feel like it because there's a disproportionate occurrence of a certain type of crime in a certain section of society, even if you think all of these things, do you really want to be the one who insulted Lee Rigby's mum? And if you feel any shame, if you feel any sorrow, if you feel any horror at what you now realise you've become, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Blame the people that put you in this despicable position. You have hurt Lee Rigby's mum while trying to deny the racism that exists at every level of our society.